let's have a serious talk about your comfort zone, because we think of it as such a popular word. We say that, well, I'm in my comfort zone, and that's outside of my comfort zone. But the comfort zone principle is really something you want to think about, and you want to constantly expand that zone of comfort so more things are in there. And this is such a key principle of life, that if you can do that, then you can constantly be more and more powerful. And if the steps are small enough, then it won't be that uncomfortable. You just have to take that little step every day. And then gradually over time, over a year, over 2 years, your life will be unrecognizable because you do that. So instead of thinking about how all the technicalities and the difficulties of starting a business or doing whatever or losing weight or changing your life, and it becomes very complex and very big, you can just focus on this little principle, and then you can be sure that your life will expand and develop. So what are we talking about? The comfort zone. What is that? Well, it's all the things, it's your life basically, of comfort, right? You go to your work and you do the things you're comfortable with, and you don't have to do anything that makes you feel insecure or afraid or right? And I remember, for instance, the first time I had to go to a sales call with a big newspaper, and I had to talk to the CEO, and it was all this respect for this guy, and I was super nervous. I was almost shaking, right? But I got through it. And then I went to another sales call and another one, and gradually it was just like everyday life. And I had no increase of pulse when so I just got used to it. What is that? Well, that is this. These are all the things I can do without feeling uncomfortable. And that just became a little bigger. So now I have the more power. The bigger the comfort zone you have, the more things that are comfortable to you, the more power you have, the more things you can do, the more things you can easily do without having to strain yourself, right? So, but what happens to most people, and this is how you don't want to live, is that they have this comfort zone, they go to work, they have their friends, they have, family, everything is pretty comfortable. And then they live there. But pretty soon, a problem comes along, and it attaches itself to the outside comfort zone. Like, okay, I'm 45 now, whatever that is, right? Or whatever the challenge is. I'm 45, I'm overweight suddenly because my metabolism has changed with age, whatever. And then you figure out, I gained 10 pounds or 20 pounds and I need to lose them. But you don't really, in order to do that, in order to lose that, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to sign up for a yoga class, and you have to show up with your right, or you have to go running, and you feel awkward when you run. You feel, I'm overweight and I look funny, or I have to go down to the fitness club, and people have to look at me sweat, and I hate that, and I have to recognize that I have a challenge, that I'm not in control, and that can be uncomfortable. But because you're one of these people who just by all just want to stay within the comfort zone, then if that problem persists, then it just gets worse, right? It gets worse and worse. So what do you do in order to deal with this challenge? Is that you lower your demands on life. You say, okay, then I'm fat. Okay, then I'm overweight. So that's just how it is. I'm just one of these guys who enjoy life, because I drink red wine and eat fatty foods. I'm a whatever, right? So you attach it to your identity suddenly. And now what happens is your comfort zone gets a little smaller. You didn't deal with the challenge. So instead of your comfort zone getting bigger, it actually got a little smaller, because now there are things you cannot do. Now it's even harder to start working out. It's even harder to change your diet, because now you have the identity of being a fat person, and that's comfortable because you don't have to do anything. I have to get used to this mic here. You don't have to do anything, and it doesn't feel that painful anymore. Before it felt painful because you were used to being that guy who could, and now, so that fixes it, right? But it also makes your comfort zone smaller, your zone of influence also, right? So your power gets even smaller. Then another problem comes along, and another problem comes along. And if you don't deal with it and grow, then your comfort zone becomes even smaller, until you're basically just on the defense of life. You're overweight, Your finances doesn't work. Your relationships are challenged. If not, then by these two, right? And then that's how life develops. Or you constantly, consciously expand. You could say there's a middle ground as well, where whenever you are challenged, then you move, right? You do something about the weight problem, or you do something about your financial problems, or whatever. There's a challenge, you deal with it. So you remain, you have your comfort zone still, but you grow every time you deal with another challenge, which is the gift in challenges or problems, right? Is the gift is that they put demands on you and say, hey, you want to grow, right? And you can. And then after you dealt with the problem, the next time a problem like that comes along, you can deal with it, which means that it's not a problem anymore, right? Because you became more powerful, more influential. But there's always another way. There's also another way, and that is consciously, with a daily, weekly, monthly focus on it, expanding your comfort zone consciously, where you're not waiting for problems to come along before you expand. You do it yourself. You go for more. Instead of reacting to being overweight, you react to the fact that you are not, you don't have the energy you want. So you start running even though you don't need to. You start eating more healthy foods to give you more energy and feel happier, but you don't need to. There's no problem as such, right? And you keep increasing that level all the time. Instead of waiting for a relationship problem, you actually do something to improve it all the time, right? But that takes, again, pushing through discomfort, because you have to deal with the tough stuff, right? But this is actually much easier, because you can take baby steps all the time. Just a little bit every time. You improve everything all the time. So your zone of influence, you learn how, if you want to, you start your own business, you actually go into that step by step, a little by little, every single day. You take a new action, you learn a little more, you read a chapter in a book about selling or marketing or whatever. You make one call. It's all it takes. The accumulative results will be amazing. If you just do, people have these huge projects. This is something I used to do a lot. Every time I wanted something, I created a huge project, and then I got overwhelmed, and then I did nothing, right? But instead of doing that, you can just say, okay, that's a huge, so it seems anyway, right, in front of me. So instead of thinking about that, just think about, what can I do to expand my zone of influence and my comfort zone? Those are two of the same things, actually. So as you push through what you feel gives you most discomfort first thing in the morning, then your comfort zone gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. And so when challenges comes along, you're ready for them. So life is on a different level. It really is. And this cannot be, you say, okay, should I just to heck with it. Let me eat and drink and just take the easy solution to everything, right? At work, I do as little as possible when I go to work. I do as little as possible in my relationships. And I just enjoy whatever comes to me, right? Is that the good life? Or is the life I just talked about, like pushing your boundaries all the time? What gives you the most amount of satisfaction and fulfillment? There is no doubt about it. This will put you into the ground, literally, right? Yeah, so I hope you got the point here. And please comment below if you have anything to say, if you disagree with me, anything you would like to throw in there. Also, I read all the comments, so that might become another video. And don't forget to subscribe so you get a news flash when I upload another video. Hope this was valuable to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.